We have ignition.
So, Coach, disappointing way to lose a game, that one. How do you sum that up?
Well, out of all the losses that we've had, this is the one that I'm most disappointed with. You know, I can stand here and I can say we're missing four of our starters, but I think we had enough quality to be able to get the job done. I mean, it shows in the score that how close the game was and what we can do. But you know, the scoring wasn't the issue for me today, because I've always said, and said in the change rooms, I know this team can score. What disappoints me as much as like you let the opposing team score 80-odd points, and some of the things we didn't do on our offensive sets, and some of the things we didn't do on the defense, and the miscommunication on the defense, is probably what makes this a very disappointing loss, because I know we're capable of so much more.
As you say, finding that defensive consistency was really an issue throughout the game. How difficult is that for you to control from the sideline?
It's extremely difficult, but that's the nature of the job, right? It's, you know, I've told them in the change rooms that, you know, like they know what they didn't do, right, to the best of their ability. And you know, we got a couple of young boys in Faris, and Faris had a hell of a game today, and with Miles and them, right, and Akeem, who were very raw, right. But the rest of them, though, they've been around the block a little bit, they've played a little bit, they know what they have and don't know what they need to do. So I don't want to bash them up too much about that. You're disappointed, you know, you want to kick people when they're down. But what is for me now is to go back home, look at the tape again, look at the areas and start coming with stuff we do in practice so everybody's on the same page. I think we lacked a lot of leadership today. But I'm saying that people have the opportunity to step up and take them roles, and without this kind of experience, right, they're never going to get it.
As you say, Faris in particular impressed offensively today. How do you sum up his performance?
He did a great job. I think he stepped up, but I have no issues with Faris in the way that he scores. I think what he needs to learn as a young player in the different ways he can score. So he's going to know that, you know, today may be a day where all he does is get layups, and another day is when he mixes it up a little bit, and another day is when he shots and he mixes up right. But that just comes with experience. I don't want to bash the kid. I thought he done a great job. Right, he did a great job offensively, and without his scoring, we wouldn't have been close into the game today.
As you say, I mean, we do have a few players out, a few key players as well. How much does that experience?
It's just the leadership that those guys bring. Mike Gale and Nathan in particular, right? You know, that's huge. Jordan in particular, that's, and also when you look at from the scoring point of view, that it's there, but it's that, like I said, that's not the problem. The problem is the leadership be able to communicate and organise and the rest of that sort of stuff. And it's not that the guys weren't trying to do that. It's just they're not used to doing it, right? And I'm quite demanding at times of what I want. So we just got to look at back to the drawing board and like make some sort of changes, and you know, refocus on some of the areas that we need to do on the defensive end. But another thing that we talked about this on Thursday, and I said, you know, this is a team. It's one of my ex-players. He knows who I am. He knows what we do, right? And I said it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. And they jumped on loose balls and they did all that sort of stuff, and they came ready for a scrap today. And I thought that we were just going to get round and get rid of it. And I've been around too long to know that. And I think the fact when we can call it on Thursday, I just think the guys will know that now, and we're going to see how they bounce back. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom, man. We're 1 and 2. I mean, geez. I mean, it's not like we're 1 and 9 or 1 and 11. We're 1 and 2. We have the ability to win games, no doubt. We are losing, you know, got one game we won, but we're losing games in single figures. There's little minor adjustments that we need to do. We've got to understand that, you know, when we have a team on the ropes and we're doing something well, to keep doing it. But that comes with experience. You know, we're a young team. It was a young team that was out there today, right? And just need a little bit more leadership.
As you say, there are a few positives to take out of this one. I think the fans in particular as well. I mean, how important can they be throughout this season?
They're massive. I mean, you know what, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm disappointed, but there's a lot of positives to bring in, right? So much more. You know, I think one of the things that the guys worried about was, can they score against his own? We can score against his own. That's not a problem. But if we run out of stuff, right, that's not an issue. We can get to our spaces, do what we need to do. Well, the guys just got to understand, right, that, you know, there's certain areas that we have to be really proficient at and stick with that, right? Because as players, we tend to do what we want to do, what we like doing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do what's needed. And I think we weren't great at today, but I mean, the way we passed the ball around sometimes, the way we played really strong man-to-man defense at the top, towards the end, a couple of issues, but the way we came down, we got quick scores. We can do that. We've been doing it in all the games we played so far this season. We're just not far off.
And just finally, Northampton next week away, looking for back-to-back wins away from home, of course. What are you going to take from today going into that one?
Well, I think we've got to be tougher defensively. Right, there'll be a similar type of team. They'll have a little bit more experience. I know that's a very young team out there. They'll have a little bit more experience. And we just got to understand that we've got to stick to the job that we've got to do, right? Stick to our game plan wholeheartedly. And as soon as we go a little bit off keel, is to get back in as quick as possible. We may have a few players back, we may not have a few players back, but we just got to be better defensively and we've got to match the other team's energy.